I've been saying this over the last 48 hours, and I'm not a skies falling guy, but we're on the verge of something changing college football. And I don't know how much, but it feels like it's going to be reshaped here, or at least we're on the verge of this. And John Canzano, great columnist, johncanzano.com, radio host on 750 AM in Portland, and certainly covering the Pac-12. And I wanted to have you on because I don't know if you feel this same way, John, but it feels like the Pac-12 is in peril, and the question is, what can you do? So where do we stand now, 11:30 a.m. Eastern?
Yeah, last night, I think everybody was sending out the Amber Alert and really looking at the Arizona schools, Arizona State. Anytime the regents meet, there's buzzing in the Pac-12 footprint, and they're going to meet later tonight, early this evening. And I think a lot of people last night expected that Arizona and Arizona State would leave the conference. I reached out to a member of the Pac-12 CEO group this morning who told me that there was some enthusiasm internally with the Pac-12. Now, I'm pumping the brakes. I'm rolling my eyes a little bit because I've heard this all throughout this negotiation. But what I was told is that the Arizona schools are really looking hard at the University of Oregon today. Oregon is expected to get a reduced share invitation to the Big Ten Conference, could come as soon as this morning, midday today. We know that the Big Ten has opened that conversation internally. And I think there's a lot of eyes on Oregon. Oregon appears to be the glue right now in the conference because the Arizona schools are saying that if Oregon chooses to stay in the Pac-12, there might be something there for the Arizona schools. That media deal that George Kliavkoff finally presented earlier this week, I think was underwhelming to a lot of people from a financial standpoint. It appears that there seems to be now maybe an added layer to this. I don't know. I don't know if more money came in. I don't know if a new partner came in. But, I was told that a big part of this now hinges on the University of Oregon.
And, Phil Knight has his money behind, the Oregon program. I don't know how much of an enticement the Big Ten saying, hey, come over here, you can make this amount of money. Plus, if you're Oregon, don't you look at this and say this opens the door with UCLA or certainly USC out the door that we can qualify right now for the national championship. We can win the Pac-12. No matter who's still left, this is an easier path than if we go to Big Ten.
Yeah, Oregon is such an interesting figure here because they're not like others. They're not like the other Pac-12 schools. They're not like a lot of the universities nationally. They have thrived at a time when the other Pac-12 schools were underfunded, because of Phil and Penny Knight. I reached out to Phil Knight earlier this week, and the response I got back is that he wasn't ready to talk because he was going to say something he might regret. And I was like, that's the ideal time
exactly.
to talk, But you're right. You're absolutely right. Rob Mullins, the athletic director at Oregon, he told me multiple times, just a week ago, told me that access to the playoff is what matters to the Ducks. And now the University of Washington looks over at Oregon. They want to be alongside Oregon. And if Arizona and Arizona State if they're being real about wanting to be in this conference, and I think the decision really comes down to the next 24 to 36 hours with the Oregon Ducks, will they decide that they're better off not competing against Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State and everybody in USC and UCLA and the Big Ten and having an easier path to the playoff? Or will they take, what everyone thinks is the future of college football and jump to a conference of 18 or 20?
How'd the Pac-12 get here?
Let's go back. 10, 12 years. Larry Scott, the commissioner of the Pac-12, he did some good things early, but his media deal was outdated. They never should have been a media company. They tried to own and operate the Pac-12 networks. They should have had a media partner. We all know now that television is running the show in college football. It's really unfortunate to see what TV has done to tradition and kickoff times and rivalries and the bifurcation of all the conferences. The Fox can say all they want that hey, we're not behind all of this, but the money is there, and we all know what's driving all of the expansion and the realignment. But I think the Pac-12 made some terrible miscues in the Larry Scott era. I think George Kliavkoff came through the door. He should have been more tuned in to UCLA and USC being unhappy. That should have been job one. Even if they're telling you to your face, they're happy. Hey, we're happy. We're good here. He should have been camping in the front yard at USC and making sure of it. And then, I think the media landscape has shifted. We've all seen the layoffs, and we've seen that industry hit hard. And I think it's a terrible time to be negotiating. I think it's really unfortunate for the Pac-12 and Pac-12 fans, more importantly.
Yeah, I thought it felt like Arizona State are waiting for somebody else, some other school to secede from the union. Then they can go to the Big 12. So if Washington and Oregon said, we're going to the Big 10, then Arizona State would go, well, we're going to the Big 12. But I'm also wondering, who do they add? Because I was told all along San Diego State was joining us. They were joining the Pac-12. I was told, Boise, sort of a novelty. That wouldn't happen. SMU was, a possibility. So can the Big 12, if they lose schools, reshape and still be the Pac-12?
Yeah, the easiest thing today would be, hey, they hold at 9, they add San Diego State. I did inquire, how would the $34 million exit fee at the Mountain West Conference work? I was told that there's some financial flexibility that the Pac-12 would offer there. Maybe they subsidize it. Maybe, San Diego State takes a lower distribution as they enter the conference. I was also told from a Mountain West Conference president that the Mountain West might be willing to negotiate that. Nobody wants to end up in litigation over these things. They're all negotiable. Even though $34 million is the number, that's your starting point. I think you could get there. But the easiest answer is stay at 9, add San Diego State. But it becomes critical today. If you lose Oregon, you're going to lose Washington, and you're going to lose the Arizona schools. And you have to be able to trust each other at a time when nobody can trust each other. Dan, they're all pirates. They're all pirates, and they're playing chess, unfortunately.
Great to talk to you as always, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's John Canzano, columnist and radio host at 7:50 a.m. in Portland.